Namaskar. Good morning, everyone. Let us start with a prayer. This prayer addressed to Sri Rama in the Tulsidas Ramayana, Ramcharitmanas. There are two shlokas, stanzas from that hymn. It's on page 210 of Universal Prayers. The first two on that page. नमामि भक्तवत्सलं कृपालुशीलकोमलं भजामि ते पदाम्बुजं यकामिनां स्वधामदं तदेकमद्भुतं प्रभुं निरीगमीश्वरं विभुं जगद्गुरुं च शाश्वतं तुरीयमेककेवलम् भजामि भाववल्लभं क्वयोगिनां सुदुर्लभम् स्वभक्तकल्पपादपं समस्तसेव्यमन्वहम् अरूपरूपभूपतिं नतोऽहमुर्विजापतिं प्रसीद देहि मे विभो पदाब्जभक्तिमाशु ते. O Lord Sri Ramachandra, I bow down to you, who are compassionate, gracious, and sweet. You alone, O Lord, are marvelous, selfless, mighty, and omnipresent. You are the teacher of the world, eternal, transcendent, one and absolute. I worship your lotus feet that enable the selfless souls to attain your eternal abode. I offer worship to you, O Lord of love, whom the worldly minded cannot reach, but who are to the devotees the wish fulfilling tree and the object of worship to all. O Lord of the universe, you are formless and yet with forms. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, and pray promptly grant me devotion to your lotus feet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you. We have been studying Sloka 66 of chapter 18, which is called the Charama Sloka. Acharya Ramanujacharya has given a commentary on this verse, on the whole Gita, where he has called this the most important instruction in the whole of the Bhagavad Gita. Not only that, in the whole of Bhakti scriptures, this is the gist of all instructions. The central point in this Shloka 66 is surrender to the will of the Lord. Śaraṇagati or prapatti. Before we come to this shloka, we have to have understood and followed all the earlier instructions given by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the earlier chapters. Then only we'll be ready to understand this instruction of total surrender. So there is a place for self-effort in human life. Surrender does not mean simply telling God, oh, you take care of me, I leave everything to you, and remaining inactive. That is not surrender. The Lord has given us ability to work. and to think and other activities, we have to use those abilities that God has given to not only do our niyata karma, required obligatory duties daily and on occasions. We have to then, after exhausting our self-effort, then we should say, "Oh Lord, I have done my best. Now the rest is up to you." It's just like the child learning to walk. If it can take a few steps, it has to take a few steps. It cannot simply sit down there and tell the mother, "Oh, carry me." So if self-effort has to be done. That is what Bhagavan Sri Krishna said in chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga, sloka numbers 5 and also 6. There he said, you should lift yourself up by your own efforts. Uddharedatmanatmanam atmanam avasadayet atmana atmanam uddharet. One has to lift oneself up by one's own effort. Then, after having done our best, then we can say to the Lord, I have done my best. Now it is up to you. Not until then. So one thing we have to understand when Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, māmekaṃ śaraṇaṃ vraja, surrender to me alone, we have to do our part and then seek the grace of God. So where is the place for our part, self-effort in our life? This we can understand from Sri Ramakrishna's parable. On a lake, a sailboat is going. Many sailboats are going. And the wind is blowing, breeze is blowing. And for the sailboat to move forward, the sailor has to unfurl the flag. Otherwise, if he keeps it rolled up, the boat will not move. The breeze is blowing, but still boat will not move. So God's grace is always there. Even our ability to do self-effort is also God's grace. He has already given us that ability because of His grace. That we have to do. When the sailor unfurls the sail and the sail catches the wind and the boat moves forward. If the sailor simply says, everything depends upon God's will, I will simply sit down here in the boat will not move. So, māmekaṃ śaraṇaṃ vraja means that we have to exhaust our self-effort, do our duties. Everybody has duties. Niyata karma. Niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajjayokya karmanaha. We studied that in the Karma Yoga chapter. We have to do our obligatory duties. Some of them are to be done daily, nitya karma. Some are to be done on occasions, special occasions, naimittika karma. Then we can say, to Lord, I have done my best, now it is up to you. Whatever you do, that I will accept. That is how we have to understand this instruction. Before we go further into this one, the Lord says, māmekaṃ śaraṇaṃ vraja. Surrender to me alone. There are other things in which we take refuge, depending on our need. Those are called ashraya. Ashraya means refuge. we take refuge in a medical doctor, go to a medical doctor, seek his or her help when we are sick. So that ashraya, we have to do that one. In our home, if there is some electrical problem, then you have to call the electrician for the help. So we take ashraya in the electrician. And if there is some plumbing problem, you have to call the plumber. Like that, depending on the nature of the problem, you have to take refuge in the appropriate resort. But for all evils of life, including all these problems and all problems, including problems of human life, from beginning to end, from birth to death, we take refuge in the ultimate refuge. Ultimate means final. There is nothing higher than that one. That is unfailing refuge. The other refuges may or may not succeed. If you go to a doctor, the medicine he gives may or may not work. Other people who come to help us, their help may or may not work. But when we take refuge in God, He is the ultimate unfailing refuge. Always there, unfailingly, He takes care of us if we take refuge in Him. Narada Maharshi, in his devotional sutras, Bhakti aphorisms, has said, a devotee has to depend on God alone, not on other refuges, because they only help us for a certain problem, specific problem, or even that may not be dependable. śaraṇaṃ tyāgaha. Like this, there is one sutra in the Narada Bhakti Sutra. Ashraya means refuge. Śaraṇaṃ, a true devotee takes refuge in God alone, unfailing, final refuge. Nothing higher than that one. So that is māmekaṃ śaraṇaṃ vraja. And why we call it unfailing refuge? Because the Lord Himself has said on more occasions than one that He will take care of His devotees. In chapter 9, Sloka 22, a famous sloka, there Bhagavan has said, Yogakshemam vahamyaham. Yoga means providing what we need, which we don't have. Apraptasya prapanam yogaha. If a person needs food, he will provide food. If a person needs clothing, he will provide clothing. If somebody needs a place to stay, he will provide that. So he will provide what is needed. That is yoga. One part. Kshema means protecting what one has. Praptasya rakshanam kshema. That also he has promised. Yogakshema hamyam. That is his promise. Now, what is our duty? Our duty is to surrender to the will of the Lord completely, totally, exclusively. Exclusive devotion to God. Ananyas chintayanto māmekaṃ ye janah paryupāsate tesham nityabhiyuktānam yogakshemam vahamyaham. This is his promise. Ananyas chintayanto, those devotees who don't think of anything else. They don't think about worldly matters. They don't worry about what other people are doing, what's happening in the world, who is doing what. They're not interested. The only thought is thought of God. They only talk about God. They only think about God. And then exclusive devotion to God. Those who worship me in every way, tesham nityabhiyuktanam, those people who are ever steadfastly devoted to me. Nityabhyuktanam, not sporadically, all the time devoted to me, not intermittent devotion, all the time. Yogakshemam mahamyaham. I'll provide what they need and I shall protect what they have. That way, we have the Lord's promise. Also, in the 9th chapter, he said, Name bhaktah pranashyati kaunteya pratijanehi Name bhaktah pranashyati. O Arjuna, I'll promise to you, pratijanehi, my devotee shall never perish. And even if the devotee is not the best devotee, he may have had a very undesirable, impure past. They have done many mistakes. But at some point, if such a devotee realizes that he has to change his ways and be devoted to God, becomes devoted to God, that devotee also will be saved by the Lord. This is chapter 9, sloka 30-31. Epichair sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhurev samantavyah samyak vyavasito hi saha. Sudaracharaha api. Even a person has been of a bad conduct, has done many bad deeds in the past, but at some point realizes that he has to be devoted to God. Mam ananya bhat bhajate. With single-minded devotion, he worships me, such a person. For such a person, I shall protect him. Apichair sudaracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha. Such a person, despite his undesirable, impure past, should be regarded as a sadhu because saha samyak vyavasitaha. He has changed the direction of his life and is going in the right direction towards God. Therefore, he should be thought of as a sadhu. Sadhureva samantavyaha. And then not only that, the Lord promises further. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigachati. Such a person who, in spite of impure past, has determined that he will be devoted to God from now on, saha, such a person should be regarded as a sadhu. Kshipram dharmatma bhavati. Very quickly will become a dharmatma. It doesn't take much time. If, for example, Valmiki was a hunter and killing people, etc., we know. But once he decided to be devoted to Rama, he got instruction from Narada to repeat Rama's name, then things happened rapidly. It became the greatest poet, Adi Kavi Valmiki, in spite of his undesirable, impure past. So, Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Such a person becomes a Dharmatma, virtuous person, Kshipram, quickly. And then the Lord says, Name Bhakta Pranashyati. My devotee shall never perish. It does not mean that devotee will have everything nice and smooth. There will be problems, ups and downs in life because of previous karma, but he will always reach God and failingly reach God. So having this firm faith in the grace, infinite grace of the Lord, a person should take refuge in him alone. Māmekaṃ śaraṇaṃ vraja. He, like other refuges, is eternal, unfailing, and always there. Other sources of support may fail us. Some people say, I have a very good position in a company or government, the job is permanent, so I am well prepared. That is my refuge, and I can be happy. That gives me support. That job. It is true to some extent, but then the job is also uncertain. It may go away, the department may close, but whatever may happen. That's not ultimate unfailing support. It gives support for some time. But God is unfailing support, eternal, unfailing support, giving infinite support. So that's why we should take refuge in God alone. Narada Maharshi says, Anya śaraṇaṃ tyagaha. Not depend upon other sources, except when necessary, but that refuge is temporary help only it will give. God is the ultimate support. Śaraṇaṃ vraja. Now, śaraṇaṃ vraja means take refuge in me. 65 again. And then before that he said, sarvadharmānparityajya. Parityaga means giving up all duties, dharma. In his commentary, Ramanujacharya says, dharma means karma, jnana, bhakti. Those are the three things we have to do. We have to do our practice karma yoga, doing all our work as offering as worship to God. That not being attached to karma or karma phala, dedicating all our karma phala, fruits of our actions to God. That we have to do. Karma, bhakti, devotion we have to practice. So those are included. Karma, bhakti, according to Narada, according to Ramanuja. Shankaracharya interprets dharma as karma, our duties. We have to still do our duties. Though we take refuge in God, we should not give up our duties. Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. In the third chapter, sloka number 9. Therefore, O Arjuna, perform all your duties. Mukta sangha, free from attachment to karma and karma phala. Samachara, perform. That instruction has to be kept in mind. Parityajya. Now, tyaga means giving up something. Karma cannot be given up. That we have seen before. Physically, it is impossible to give up karma. Some karma will have to be done. Taking care of the body itself is a karma, sharira yatra, that cannot be given up. And required duty niyata karma, if somebody has a job, they have to go to work every day and work for the required number of hours diligently. That is required karma, niyata karma, that has to be done. They cannot be given up. So what can be given up are two kinds of karma that we have seen before. Kamya karma has to be given up. Kamyanam karmanam nyasam sannyasam kavayo viduho. 18 chapters, first and second verse. Giving up kamya karma is sannyasa. That has to be given up. Kamya karma means selfish actions, something that is done only exclusively for one's own benefit and pleasure, not to help anybody else. Purely selfish action. That has to be given up. Second kind of karma we all have to give up is, before that, nishiddha karma. Nishiddha karma means immoral, illegal actions, prohibited actions. That we have to give up. Other than that, niyata karma has to be done. It cannot be given up. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. That is requirement for śaraṇagati. Before saying to God, I've done my best, then you take care of me. The rest is in your hand. So performing all niyata karma, giving up attachment to karma phala, is the central point in śaraṇagati. Now, what is śaraṇagati? There are three different ways to understand śaraṇagati. For the jnana yogi, who follows the path of vichara, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, the world is unreal, I am Brahman, Brahman alone is real, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, all this is Brahman, Sarvam Karuidam Brahma, Am Brahmasmi, all these are Upanishadic teachings. There a person pursuing that path of Jnana Yoga firmly rejects everything as unreal, including one's own body, mind, and whole world waking state is unreal. So it does not become attached to anything. All what is real is only the self, Atman, and I am that one. That position has to be taken under all conditions. We can say I'm not the body when everything is going on well. The body is not giving me any trouble, then I can say I'm not the body, I'm the Atman. But that does not cut it. Even when the body is in severe pain, can you say I'm not the body? No. It's very difficult. The path of Jnana Yoga is difficult. Sri Ramakrishna said that the path of Jnana Yoga which says I am Brahman, I am not the body mind, is not suitable for Kali Yuga for majority of people. Very difficult because we have strong body consciousness. That is one way to surrender to the will, to Brahma, giving up identification with the body and the world. That is one kind of Sharanagati, Brahman, Jnana Yogis. Karma Yogi gives, Raja Yogi gives practice Karma Sharanagati by Ishvara Pranidhanam. In Patanjali's Raja Yoga Sutras, there's one sutra, Ishvara Pranidhanad Va. Va means or, as an alternate to all other practices of yoga, Ishvara Pranidhanad. By surrendering totally to the will of Lord Ishvara, one can achieve Samadhi. Jnana Yogi, Raja Yogi also practices surrender by Ishvara Pranidhana, surrendering everything to the Lord. Now we come to the Bhakti Yogi, the third category of people. Person who is practicing path of devotion, that person says, "O Lord, you are the ultimate refuge. You are Purushottama, described in the 15th chapter. The Supreme Purusha, the Creator, the Sustainer, and the ultimate refuge of all creation. And in you I take refuge. I am a servant, I am a child, and I dedicate my whole life, all my thoughts, my speech, my activities, my possessions, my work, everything, my body, mind, everything, I surrender at your feet. You are my all in all." That is surrendering one's own ego and telling Lord, you are the only self. Surrendering one's own ego, Jnana Yogi also does. I, this individual person, body, mind, I am not the reality. Brahman alone is real and I am that one. That way he gives up his individual ego, Jnana Yogi. Bhakti Yogi, person following the path of bhakti devotion, he says, I am just your child, your servant, you are the all in all, and I take refuge in you. All my actions, thought and speech and possessions are all yours. Not I but thou, not mine but thine. That is devotee's surrender. And the person who practices Raja Yoga, he says, Ishvara Pranidhanadva. The details are not given in the Yoga Sutras, how to do Ishvara Pranidhana, but surrendering everything to the will of Ishvara, so the Lord. So these are different ways in which you can understand Sharanagati. Now, Sharanagati does not mean, when it is convenient, we say everything is in God's hands, supposing something that you do does not succeed. Then we say everything is in God's hands, what can we do? We are powerless, it is His will that prevails. So things happen by His will, you have to accept. They will rationalize like that. When things don't work out. When things succeed, then they say, I worked very hard and I got this result like that one. So it's not depending on convenience, not occasionally. Under all circumstances, we have to surrender to the will of the Lord, accept the will of the Lord as the finite. You hear the story of the Brahmana who had a garden. And one day a cow came and ate up his fruits, plants. flower plants and everything. He became angry and started beating the cow, and the cow died. And then people asked him, why did you kill the cow? No, I did not kill the cow. It is my hands killed the cow. I'm not the hand. I'm not the body mind. I'm the Atman. It's convenient to say like that one. But when Indra he came in the disguise of another Brahmana and asked him, why did you kill the cow? The same reply the Brahmana gave. Then Indra said, okay, it is your hand that killed the cow. You did not kill the cow. So I will just take away your hand. Indra is the adipati of the hands, presiding deity. So then the Brahmana said, no, I can't give you my hand. No? So that is depending on convenience. We cannot say everything happened by the will of God. I did not do. That is not like that. Under all circumstances, we have to surrender to the will of the Lord. One more point I want to say. Total surrender means unconditional surrender, not only when convenient, at all times unconditionally. For example, when Mirabai, her king, sent her a cup full of poison, he didn't want her to live. And she knew it was poison. But she said, I depend on the Lord. Rana ji ne vish ka pyala bheja hai. Once she drank it, nothing happened. Total surrender to the will of the Lord. Other refuges that you have seen before. There are 6 steps which you have to practice while practicing surrender, śaraṇāgati. Let us see what these 6 steps are. First step is anukolasya sankalpaha. Second thing is pratikolasya varjanam. Third step is rakshishyati iti vishvasaha. Fourth step is gopritvaranam tatha. Fifth step is atmanikshepa karpanye. Sixth step is karpanya, means when the life becomes very difficult, we feel we are in a wretched condition, then we take refuge in God. But we should take refuge at all times, even when things are very convenient for us. Let us see what these 6 steps are. Anukulasya sankalpa. Anukula means something that's convenient, comfortable, conducive, convenient. Sankalpa means determining in the mind. Sharanagati starts in the mind before you put into practice. So we should think that we should surrender to the Lord, and we should think how to surrender. What is surrender? Depend on same, but I must do my duties. And afterwards I should say, I've done my part. It is left to you now. And my duty I have to do as worship, as offering, without attachment to karma pala. That's part of surrender. That one should think in the mind, performing one's duty. Second thing is, I shall associate myself with only holy company, holy people who are also interested in God, devotees. I shall associate myself with devotees. That determination has to be made. Sankalpa means that decision has to be taken. Then I shall not associate with people who are not interested in God. Narada says in devotional sutras, Dusangha sarvadharmānparityajya. Dusangha means company of other bad people. Not really bad people, but they are not interested in God. They may be good people, but interested in worldly affairs. Their company is not helpful to us, because they always talk about worldly matters, stock market and cars and dress and entertainment and sports. That is not helpful to us. So I shall associate with holy people. Dusangha sarvadharmānparityajya. At all costs, we should give evil company, unhelpful company. So like this, we should think in our mind that I want to surrender to the Lord. I should do these things. That is first step. anukulasya sankalpaha. Second step is, it all happens in the mind. And then we should put into practice. Pratikulasya varjanam. Pratikula means inconvenient, opposite, giving up unfavorable thoughts. So many, when we sit down for meditation, we all know from experience, all kinds of unhelpful thoughts will come, impure thoughts will come, right at just moment. So we have to give those thoughts up, replace them with good thoughts. Vitarka badane pratyapaksha bhavanam. Patanjali says, when an unhelpful thought comes to the mind, pratyapaksha bhavana means put the opposite thought. When the thought of anger comes, put the thought of peace. When the thought of greed comes, put the thought of generosity, sharing. Like that one. That is pratikulasya varjanam, giving up unhelpful thought patterns. Giving up desire for worldly talk. In Narada Bhakti Sutra, Narada says, a devotee should never indulge in gossip about other people. Their one aphorism is, Stri dhana nastika vairi charityam na shravaniyam. One should not even hear shravaniyam, na shravaniyam, about the gossip about other people. For men, it is said, don't talk about women. Talking about women is not good for devotees. So, Sri, dhana, not talking about money, because you are thinking of surrendering everything, depending on the will of God. How to acquire more money, where to invest for a higher return, those talks are not conducive. Siddhana, Nastika. Nastika means those who don't believe in God. They're interested in worldly things. Their talk also we should not do. So many things, people are doing bad things in newspaper we see every day. If you read all those things, what other people are doing, politicians or other people are doing bad things, then we'll be thinking about those things. Nastika vairi charitram na shravaniyam. We should not listen to those, read those, think about those. And then one more thing we have to do, pratikula varjanam. Pratikula is a varjanam. We have to give up our sense of pride. In the Gita, several places, Bhagavan has said, amanitvam, madambitvam, like that one, 13th chapter. So I am such a big person, I have so much knowledge, I have so much money, I know so much. This kind of pride is very harmful to devotees. We should say, not I, but thou. Not projecting oneself as the most important person, but keeping oneself low, practicing humility. Tarorapi sahishnana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. Trinadapi sunechena, humbler than a blade of grass. Devotee should do that one. Abhimanadambhadikam tyajam, Narada says. Next thing we have to do, that we already saw, Dusangha Sarvatevati, giving up unholy company. Company of people who are not interested in God. They may be good people, but interested in other things. That is number 2. First step is anukulasya sankalpaha, determining that I will do only what is conducive to devotion and surrender, and I shall not do anything that is harmful to devotion and surrender. Pratikulasya varjana. Third thing that we have to do is having firm faith that God will protect. Rakshishyati iti vishvasaha. That faith may not come easily. Their doubt will be there. Will God protect me? Like that one, some doubt will come. That doubt should not be there. He is the ultimate refuge, unfailing refuge. How that doubt, how that firmness of belief will come? How can believe that God always protects us unfailingly? That faith will come when we study Bhagavan's words. Yogakshema Mahamyam is already, he has promised that I shall protect, I shall provide what my devotee needs, yoga. I shall protect what my devotee needs. Yes, said Dutta. Name Bhakta Pranashyati, 9th chapter. My devotee shall never perish. So this kind of promise the Lord has given. So we should have firm faith in the words of the Lord, and then we should have the firm faith that He will always protect me under all circumstances. But I have to take refuge in Him, giving up my ego. In the Christian monastic, in Christian religion, also the same unfailing faith is necessary. There in the Bible, there is a section called the Book of Psalms. 23rd chapter in that Book of Psalms says, the devotee says, the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not fear. The Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want. Firm faith in the protection of the Lord. He is my shepherd. He is taking care of me. I am his flock. And he will protect me. I shall not fear. What fear is there? I have taken the name of God. And I shall not want. And he is providing everything that I need before I ask. Without my asking, though, why should I worry about tomorrow? Where will I live? What will I eat? No anxiety for the devotee. Firm faith that God will protect me, provide me whatever I need. That is the next step. Having firm faith, Rakshishyati, He will always protect me. Iti Vishwasaha. That firm faith we should develop. That is another step in the practice of surrender, śaraṇagati. Third step. Fourth one is goptritva varanam tatha, actually taking refuge in God. So far we are thinking that I will do this, I will do that, I will do this, I will do that. But when the circumstances come in the daily life, actually we should take refuge in God after having done our best. So when I go to a physician, doctor, when I become sick, I should take the medicine given by the doctor, and then I should say I've done my best so far. No, it is up to you. Whether I'll be cured or not, it is not in the doctor's hand nor in my hands. Many years ago, I went to see a doctor here. And then some problem was there. He gave me some instructions, and then he asked me to go to his office. He sat down in his office. He was sitting there. I was sitting on his other side of the desk. And on his desk, I saw a small copper plaque. And that copper plaque, it was written, I treat, he cures. That was written on his plaque, on the doctor's desk, it was there. Then we started talking about this one. Then he said, my duty is to examine the patient, determine what is the problem, diagnose the problem as well as I can, and prescribe the medicine that may work. Up to that, I have my duty. Then whether that medicine will actually work or not, will be cured or not, is not in my hands. That is the truth. The Sri Ramakrishna says God laughs on two occasions. God laughs when the doctor says to the sick child's mother, I have given treatment to your child, and treatment your child will survive, she will become healthy. God is laughing about how does he know whether the child is going to live or not? He has only given his medicine. Whether the medicine will work or not, you don't know. Same medicine may work for some people, may not work for other people. Everybody reacts to the same medicine differently. Not in the doctor's hands. So I treat, he cures. So that's what we should have. Actually taking refuge in God, not simply saying, I've done my best. Now, oh Lord, it is up to you. Whatever you do, I will surrender to your will. Goptritva varanam tatha. Varanam means choosing, preferring, practicing surrender to the will of the Lord. But after having done my self-effort. That is the fourth step. Next step in the practice of saranagati is atmanikshepa. Atmanikshepa means throwing oneself totally at the mercy of the Lord. I have taken refuge in you, you protect me. For example, King Bali, Bali Chakravarti, known for his generosity, dana. So he was a little bit proud of his ability, his virtue of able to give everything, generosity. So Lord came in the form of Vamana Avatara. Vamana means a short person. In the form of a short Brahmana, the Lord comes to test. So Bali Chakravarti, so many people used to go to him to ask for something. He said, "What can I do for you? What will you need? What can I give you?" Bali asks him. Vamana says, "I just need a little bit of land." Bali asks, Chakravarti asks, "How much land do you need?" "Only 3 steps. That's all. I can give you more." "No, 3 steps are enough. Give me," he says. So Bali thought this very small thing I can give. So Bali Chakravarti says, "You take 1 step, whatever area I want to cover. With 1 foot, the Lord covered the whole earth. Then there was no place left. Where shall I keep my 2nd foot?" Vamana asked. Oh, then he said, "You can keep the 2nd foot in all the outer space." But also was occupied. "Where shall I keep my 3rd foot? 3 feet I need." Then there is no place for the Lord to keep his 3rd foot. "You had promised I'll give you 3." So Bali surrendered his own self. He said, he showed his head. "Oh Lord," he understood that is God himself has come, not an ordinary seeker of 3 feet of land. "You keep your 3rd foot on my head," surrendered. So Amana kept his 3rd foot on Bali's Chakravarti and of course saved him later, devotee. So that total surrender, everything I have is yours. All my actions are yours. All the fruit of my actions are yours. I also belong to you. That is total surrender. Atmanikshepaha. That is. Prahlada also says total surrender. Prahlada is given 9 steps of Navavida Bhakti, he said in the Bhagavata Purana. Prahlada. And then the last step he says is Atmanivedanam, total surrender of one's own self to the Lord. 9 steps are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. First step is practicing devotion is Smaranam, always remembering God, not wasting your thought on worldly thoughts. Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Kirtanam means chanting the names and glories of God. Vishnu, Smaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Shravanam. First thing is hearing about the Lord. Shravanam, first step. Hearing about the chanting of God's names and glories. Hearing about somebody reciting the Bhagavata, Purana Katha, all those things, that is first step, Shravanam. Second step is Kirtanam, chanting God's names and glories. Third step is Smaranam, constantly remembering God. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam. Padasevanam means serving the feet of the Lord. Where do we find Lord's feet? All feet are God's feet. Whomever you serve, you are serving the Lord. Even if you serve a sick animal or thirsty dog, give water, to whom are you giving the water? To the Lord. He is there in all beings. That from the study of Bhagavad Gita is present in all the bodies. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram 1327. Also, in 13th chapter, sloka number 13, specifically Sri Krishna says, all feet are God's feet. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvatokshishiro mukham sarvatah srutimalloke sarvamavritya tishtati. Sarvatah pani, all hands are God's hands. If you shake hands with somebody, then we are shaking God's hands. He is there in that person. You should have that thought. Padam, all feet are God's feet. If you bow down to anybody's feet, then you bowing down to God. He's there. Sarvata Pani Padam. Sarvata Akshi, all eyes are God's eyes. So when I am doing some action, some people are watching. Then who is watching through all these people? The Lord Himself is watching through all these pairs of eyes. He's watching. All eyes are His eyes. Sarvatokshishiro mukham. All heads are God's heads. All faces are God's faces. Shiro mukham. Whichever face you see, you're seeing the face of the Lord. In where He is not present, in what He is not present. Therefore, whatever service we do to the least of His children, we are doing it unto Him. That is Atmanivedanam. Prahlada says that one. Padasevanam, Archanam, worship, ritualistic worship. Vandanam, bowing down, Mam Namaskuru, Sri Krishna says in the Gita. Dasyam, serving the Lord as a servant. Dasya Bhava. Ninth one is Sakhyam, friendliness, friendship with all beings. Atmanivedanam, ninth one. So that is the fifth step. Atmanikshepa means surrendering everything at the feet of the Lord. Totally, unconditionally, without any reservation. That is the essence of śaraṇalaya. The last step is karpanye. Karpanye means when especially we are in a difficult situation. That is natural. When we are in difficulty, we go to God. When everything is comfortable, we don't go to God. You're okay. In Kannada, there is a proverb which says, Sankata bandare Venkatarabana. When there is some problem, then we go to Venkatarabana. Oh Lord, save me. Everything is convenient, comfortable. Not like that. At all times, we should surrender to the will of the Lord. Now, before we leave this topic, I want to quickly read two short passages from this book, Spiritual Talks. We are studying this book. Swami Atmagyan is teaching this book Tuesday mornings. There, Swami Turiyananda gives his instruction on self-surrender. Sharanagati. Short paragraph I shall read. Swami Turiyananda. We can be at perfect peace if we can resign our results to the Lord. No anxiety, no worry. If I'm on my own effort, if I do things at my own power, then I'm not sure they'll succeed or not. But if we depend on God's power, surrender to God, then He's infinite, merciful, no failure at all. We can be at perfect peace if we can resign our results to the Lord. Let Him do what He thinks best. We leave it to Him. Whatever is good for me, He will do. That faith we should have. I myself may take some decision, this is good for me, I will do. That decision may or may not be the right decision because I don't have the full information. What I think is good for me may not be good for me. But if you leave it to the Lord, you'll do only what is good for me at all times. Let Him do what He thinks best. It is foolishness to dictate terms to Him as regards His dealings with us. We should not say, God, do this for me. We can't dictate terms to Him. Once you surrender yourself at His feet, there should be no room left for the assertion of your individual will. I've surrendered to God, but I want this one to happen. That cannot be. He knows what is best for you. Even if you pray for what is not desirable, He will do the right thing for you. God knows better than I myself know what is good for me. The child may think something is good for me. It wants to have it from the mother. Mother knows what is good for it. She will do only what is good for the child. The child may ask for anything. The child will ask for 10 cookies. The mother will say only 1 or 2 cookies. Other more things are not good for you. She knows what is good. She will do what is good for the child. Child may ask whatever it wants. So we should leave it to the Lord. He knows what is best for me. I should not dictate terms to God. Tie His hand, do this to me, do this, give this to me, give this. Let Him do what is best for me. He knows. That is one aspect of surrender. Swami Turiyananda's teaching, and he will do the right thing by you. Again, same Swami Turiyananda's instruction on self-surrender. He says, what is wanted is dependence on God. One must surrender everything to Him. It is absolutely necessary that one should completely surrender oneself to Him. Without that, no success is possible. Having fully surrendered yourself to Him, live contentedly in whatever condition He places you. The path of self-surrender is open to all, but none sees it, none follows it. People seek always advantages. See, once we surrender everything to God, then we should not put any conditions. Totally leave it to the Lord's will. He knows what is best for me. Without that complete surrender, no success is possible in spiritual life. Having fully surrendered yourself to Him, live contentedly in whatever condition He places you. In whatever condition God keeps me, in whatever place God keeps me, whatever work He gives me, that I shall do happily with contentment. I'm not complete. Sri Ramakrishna's example, a baby cat, kitten. Wherever the mother cat puts it, the baby cat stays there. The mother cat may put the baby in the master's house's closet, it will stay there until the mother cat comes and takes it and puts it under the master's bedroom, under the bed. It will stay there until mother comes and changes its position. That is surrender. We should not put condition. Give me this, give me that. No. Total surrender to the will of the Lord. Wherever He keeps us, in whatever condition He keeps us, whatever work He asks us to do, that I shall do with joy and surrender and love. Rest is up to Him in His hands. That is the essence of surrender. Now let us see how Girish Chandra Ghosh surrendered to the will of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna asked him to give him the power of attorney. Giving a power of attorney means that you should accept what comes by the will of the Lord. You cannot dictate terms. At the same time, he has to do his duties. Girish Chandra Ghosh still had to go to work, produce and whatever star theater, drama, everything that he had to continue to do. He can't stop that one and say, God will do everything for me. No, we have to do our duty. That he continued to do. But whatever happened by the will of God, it took some time, but he gradually began to understand. That is surrender to the will of the Lord. Finally, how Vibhishana surrendered to the will of Sri Ramakrishna. The will of Sri Rama. Vibhishana was Ravana's brother, and he belonged to the Rakshasa family, Vibhishana, but he was very different from Ravana. Vibhishana was a sattvic person. He was devoted to Sri Rama. But Ravana, we did not like anybody being devoted to some Rama or somebody else. But in the case of Vibhishana, he just let him be a devotee because Vibhishana totally obeyed and followed Ravana's instruction. Vibhishana never told Ravana until a certain point in time in the story that what Ravana is doing wrong. He kept quiet. So Ravana was okay with him. Let him stay in the country, Vibhishana, though he was not, he was a devotee of God. But Hanuman went and saw Vibhishana. Hanuman, when he went to Lanka to find out Sita, then he met Vibhishana, identified him as a devotee of Rama, and they talked about Sri Rama and the devotion and everything. After this, Vibhishana pointed out to Ravana, see, Ravana, brother, what you're doing is wrong. Sri Rama is God himself, and what you have done is very wrong. You should surrender to the will of Rama, return Sita to him, and he will protect you. This advice Vibhishana gave for the first time to Ravana. After his conversation with Hanuman, Ravana became very angry and kicked him out of his kingdom. Ravana said, you can't stay in my kingdom. You're objecting to what I am doing. So far you are keeping quiet. Now you began to say what I am doing is wrong. Oh, get out of my country. Get out, he said. Vibhishana had to leave Lanka. So where does he go? He goes to Sri Rama, Vibhishana. And Sri Rama was accompanied by his army. Sugriva and other people were there in Rama's side. When Vibhishana went and told the guards outside before seeing Sri Rama that I am Vibhishana, Ravana's brother, I have come to take refuge in Sri Rama. But Sugriva and other people did not believe him. They said to Sri Rama, see, this guy is not Vibhishana. He is some other Rakshasa sent by Ravana in the guise of Vibhishana just to cheat us. No, we should not let him come and we should punish him. He is a Rakshasa. How can he surrender to you? He says he's Vibhishana, but we don't trust him. He is some other Rakshasa coming in that form to deceive us. This is what his Rama's advisors cautioned him. But Sri Rama said, no, he has come as a messenger. When a messenger comes, we should not harm him. So bring him in, let me see, and I will give him protection if he seeks my protection. So Vibhishana was allowed to go to Sri Rama. When he saw Sri Rama and Lakshmana sitting there, Vibhishana, for the first time he saw Sri Rama and Lakshmana, he was overwhelmed with the beauty, divine beauty of Sri Rama and Lakshmana. Vibhishana was overwhelmed. Such a Lord, so much devotion welled up in his heart. And Vibhishana says, sir, I am Vibhishana, Ravana's brother. Though I am born as a Rakshasa in the Rakshasa family, I know that you are my Lord, you are the Supreme Lord. My brother is doing something wrong. I pointed it out to him, he kicked me out of his kingdom. So far, I did not say anything to him. Now I told him that he should return Sita to you and take refuge in you. He didn't like it, so he kicked me out of his kingdom, so I have no place. I've come to take refuge in you. Śaraṇāgata. I take refuge in you. Rama was known as Śaraṇāgata Vatsala. Śaraṇāgata Vatsala means one who always unfailingly protects those who take refuge in him. So Rama found out that Vibhishana is a genuine person and is genuinely taking refuge in him. So granted him refuge. Yes, I will protect you and you will eventually become the leader of the kingdom Lanka, will lead the Lanka, but until then, you are under my protection. So Vishnu surrendered to the will of the Lord, and Rama accepted, protected him. That's the power of surrender. So the gist of all this is we should do our niyata karma duties to the extent possible, and then we should say, oh Lord, I have done my best, it is up to you. Whatever you wish that will happen, I shall abide by your wishes, and I will not complain, I will not put condition, do this, do that. Once I am surrendered to you, whatever you do, I shall accept it. Joyfully, uncomplainingly, that is the gist of surrender. So we shall stop here, and several people are greeting me. Pratyapundapadhyaya from Connecticut, Kamalama from Houston, Michael Cash, and Mark Goodish. Thank you all for greeting me and attending the class. We shall stop here and say the closing prayer.
All of us also silently.
Huh?
All of us are doing that silently.
Yes, all of the people here also greeting me, blessing me by their presence, physical presence. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy. May all be free from ill health and all other problems. May all realize and practice what is noble, dharmic, and may no one be subject to any kind of suffering. Om peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings. And may there be peace everywhere in nature. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. All of you stay well, and God willing, we shall see you next week. Now, the remaining shlokas in the Gita, 22 shlokas, they are by the nature, by way of conclusion, Palashruti, and we shall complete them very quickly in a couple of classes. And then after that, Swami Atma Gandhi has asked me to continue the class and study Kathopanishad. So we shall see. We try to start study Kathopanishad after completing the Bhagavad Gita. But one thing I want to tell you, we should not keep the Gita book aside and say, I've read the Gita. You can never say that one. All our life, Gita has to be studied. So it's not like a novel which you read from beginning to end and say, I've read the novel, keep it. No. Gita is something that has to be studied every day in our life. Also, Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. These two books we have to study on a daily basis. We can never complete studying the Gita or the Gospel. There's always something more to learn. So now we shall stop here. And this Sunday, we are celebrating Swami Vivekananda's birthday celebration, Janmatiti Puja at 11 o'clock here. If you are here nearby, if you can come, please come. Otherwise, you can watch from home, wherever you are. And let us stop here, and God willing, see you next week. Namaskar. All of you stay well.